Hi guys, welcome back. In this new video, I'd like to talk about nesting in Python. More specifically, nesting with if, for, and while statements. In other words, how to use an if inside another if, a for inside another for, and a while inside another while. Now let's take them one at a time to see how they work. Let's start with the if statement. When we use an if inside another if, we essentially tell Python to execute if and only if both conditions evaluate true. So let's take a very simple example. Let's say a equals 9, right? A equals 9, and if a is greater than 5, this is our outer if, and our inner if a is lower than 10, what shall we do? Let's just print a. There you go. Right, so if we run this, we'll see that this evaluates to 9 because a is 9. Don't forget about indentation in Python. This is very important. As you can see, I have indented this statement here and here so that Python could tell that this print statement falls inside the inner if and the inner if falls inside the outer if. Another way to do the above is this: if a is greater than 5 and a is more than 10, print a. Let's run this. As you can see, it still returns 9. This time we have used a logical AND, and to make sure we run the block of code down here, only if both conditions evaluate to true, the print will run. By the way, it's recommended to have a low level of nesting to keep your scripts readable, but our two levels you see here are fine. Now let's see for loops. Let's say we have two lists and we want to iterate through both of them in the same time while multiplying their elements and of course returning the results. For that, let's just define two lists. Let's say list 1 equals between square parentheses 2, 3, 4. List 2 equals, let's say 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. Right, so let's use two nested for loops to achieve the desired result, which is the multiplication of their elements. And let's say for I being an iterator through each list, in list 1, this is our outer for loop, our inner for loop. For j in list 2, print the multiplication of I and j. There you go. So this is our outer loop and this is our inner loop. So essentially Python, for each element in list 1, and then will iterate through the elements of list 2 and multiply them. So it's as simple as that. Then for the next element in list 1, as this iteration finishes and then the multiplication, it takes the next element in list 1, do the same thing, and so on and so forth. So let's try this and see how it works. And there you go. So basically, essentially, it will take first 2 and then it will multiply 2 with all the elements in list 2. So you'll have 8, 10, 12, then that's what you've got. Then you have 3 times 4, 12, 15, and 18, and then 16, 20, and 24. It's as simple as that. A while loop is quite similar. So the logic for a while loop similarly is, so you have while expression, and then let's say a statement S. So while this expression evaluates to true, while this expression in the inner loop evaluates to true, run statement S. The expression needs to be something that for both loops, inner and outer, needs to be something that would eventually evaluate to false. Otherwise, you're trapped in an infinite loop. So, for example, if you have something like, let's say a equals 10, a equals 10, b equals 5, let's say, while a is lower than 20, print this is the outer loop, and let's say a equals 8 plus 1, because we will need to increment 1, otherwise we're trapped in an infinite loop, as a will always be lower than 20. Right, so let's do the inner loop now. While let's say b is more than 10, right? Print, here is the inner loop, and let's say we need to increment b equals b plus 1. So essentially what we're doing here is we're going and checking to see if a in the outer loop to see if a evaluates to true, and it does because 10 is more than 20. Then I print everything that's inside here and that's being indented. So it will print this expression, then it will increment a to the value of 11, and then it will go to the inner loop. B, of course, will evaluate to true because b is 5, 5 is lower than 10. Oops, I have a t missing here. And then it will run the print and the incrementation of b plus 1. Let's run this and see how that works. And as you can see, it has printed the first print because a 10 is lower than 20, right? It has incremented a to 11. And then it goes inside the inner loop and basically executes it until b is no longer lower than 10. So as you can see, it executed once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5 times. So we increment b to 6, we increment b to 7, 8, 9, 10. When b becomes 10, this expression no longer evaluates to true. So Python will execute the inner loop, and then we'll continue the execution of the outer loop, and I think it will continue executing it 9 times afterwards. So it executed once here, and then should continue 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's right. Right, so that's the while nested loop. And to sum everything up, a nested loop is a loop within a loop, an inner loop within the body of an outer one. How this works is that the first pass of the outer loop, which is here, triggers the inner loop, as we have seen here, which executes until completion. Then the second pass of the outer loop triggers the inner loop again. This repeats until the outer loop finishes. Of course, let's say breaks within either the inner or the outer loop would interrupt the process, but we'll find out more about breaks in the following video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.